Today I'm in beautiful Melbourne Beach, Florida. And in this video, I'm going to show you through video and pictures what it's actually like to live, drive through, and experience this charming coastal town on the east central coast of Florida. I'm also going to explain to you some of my pros and cons, what it's actually like to live here in Melbourne Beach. This is going to be your ultimate guide to Melbourne Beach, Florida. Let's go. Welcome to the Living in Melbourne, Florida channel. My name is David Jelinek and I'm a local real estate agent here in the Melbourne, Florida area, which is also known as the Space Coast. In this video, I'm going to go over a complete view of what it's like to live in Melbourne Beach, Florida. Melbourne Beach is a charming coastal town on the east central coast of Florida, right on the Atlantic Ocean. In this video, I'm going to go over what it's like to live, work, and play here in Melbourne Beach. The restaurants, the food, the beaches, the parks, the homes, everything. This video is rich in content. You're going to want to see every minute of it. Let's go. Now, Melbourne Beach is located about an hour and a half drive from Orlando, and it's home to about 3,200 residents, but this number is growing every year and actually is more like between 10,000 and 15,000 if you include all the unincorporated areas, which include all the way down to Sebastian Inlet State Park. And when you include all of the visitors that vacation down here in the parks, that number is even greater. So now I'm going to show you the town and area of Melbourne Beach. I'm going to drive you through Melbourne Beach so you can experience the sights and sounds of this beautiful town. And I'm also going to go over my pros and cons for living in Melbourne Beach. Let's go. What's so cool about Melbourne Beach here is that you can just pull right in like I did off of Ocean Avenue, the main street here in Melbourne Beach, pull right in and you can park here, enjoy the oceanfront. They have a 30-minute park limit on the parking spaces here, but you can pull in anytime, enjoy it for 30 minutes on your lunch or whatever. That's what I love about Melbourne Beach. There's some towns you can't pull in and have free parking in the middle of a city somewhere and enjoy the beach. In Melbourne Beach here, you can. Okay, so let's go into some of the pros and cons now for living in Melbourne Beach. And the number one pro for me is an obvious one. It's the beach lifestyle. It's all the outdoor lifestyle that you can enjoy here in Melbourne Beach. And that starts with the oceanfront access, the beautiful beaches that you can enjoy. Melbourne Beach actually has almost 17 miles of oceanfront that you can enjoy. That includes the city limits and all the unincorporated areas, which actually extend all the way down to the Sebastian Inlet State Park. So you have all of these access points that you can enjoy in the beach, but there's also a lot of other numerous parks. You actually have the Flutie Athletic Complex, which is a great athletic complex for the kids and adults to enjoy right in the middle of town there. Baseball fields, soccer fields, tennis court, pickleball, just a lot of stuff that you can enjoy right downtown there. Great complex. And yes, Doug Flutie is from the Melbourne Beach area, but also other parks. You have sanctuaries, bird sanctuaries. You have other just parks and wildlife and wetland areas that you can enjoy. Just the lifestyle outside you can enjoy with the great weather, of course, is just the number one feature about Melbourne Beach. Okay, so my second pro for living in Melbourne Beach, Florida is that I love the small town, the laid back lifestyle that Melbourne Beach offers. So you do have access to the larger town of Melbourne. You can reach anything that you want within Melbourne, and the mainland areas there within about 30 minutes here. But Melbourne Beach has a great small town, laid back lifestyle. The community spirit there is great. They support their kids and all their sporting activities. They have a great adult program, a great adult community. That they have a historical society. They have a community center there that you can do a lot of different local activities there within the town itself. But this is what I just love about Melbourne Beach. It just has a great small town, laid back lifestyle that you can still have access to the major things if you want, the city of Melbourne. But here is just a hidden gem here on the coast there, a little bit off the path, great small community lifestyle that I love. let's get on to a few of the cons for living in Melbourne Beach, in my opinion. So the number one con to me is the traffic. So for a small town, Melbourne Beach always seems to have a little bit more traffic than I would expect. It seems to be more of a moderate, medium-sized traffic, and sometimes a heavier traffic. And here are the reasons, in my opinion. So Melbourne Beach has access points of basically two access points, north and south on A1A. Now there's basically two main streets that go through town, A1A and Ocean, or you cut through on Oak Street, which takes you through to the school, takes you through the ballparks, and takes you to the golf course. So, when you're a local resident, you basically are, if you're coming and going through town, you're going through one of those two main streets. So also the people that live south or even north, they're cutting through on these two streets. There's a lot of new construction going on in the south unincorporated of Melbourne Beach. You have a lot of trucks going on down there constantly. They're also sometimes doing reconstruction on the beaches there from the storms. So you had a little bit of washout summer from Ian and Nicole that came through. So the traffic, in my opinion, is always a little bit surprising. It's always more heavy. You'll see that in my videos there. There's actually traffic going on almost all the time. Not heavy, but just a moderate amount of traffic, which again, to me is a little bit more surprising because it is such a small town. Okay, a couple other cons are that you are a little bit further away. So one of the pros is that it's a small town and it's a little more rural. Well, the other side of that coin is that it's a little further away from the bigger town such as Melbourne. So you have about a 15-minute drive to downtown Melbourne. You have only a 5-10 minute drive to the Atlantic and Satellite Beach to the north. The shopping that you have in Melbourne Beach, and you have a little bit of everything. You actually have a Publix, which is one of the few name brand national stores that is in Melbourne Beach. Otherwise, almost everything else is a local brand or a local mom and pop company. But you have the pharmacy there at Publix, but you also have a local pharmacy. You have just about everything that you want there. You have a little bit of other grocery, you have a little bit of other drugstore, you have animal hospitals, you have dentists, you have, again, a little bit of everything in Melbourne Beach. But the fact is that you have a little bit less choices. So if you need something specific, you need to have a 15-20 minute trip into Melbourne, or sometimes that'll also be accessible in the Atlantic or Indian Harbor Beach or Satellite Beach to the north there. So it is a little bit negative. You're a little bit further away from some choices that you may have. But again, you have access to almost everything, if not everything that you need right there in Melbourne Beach. But if you want something specific, you may have to drive a little bit further. As we make our drive further south on A1A, we're going to come to Sebastian Inlet State Park, which is one of the best state parks in the state, in my opinion. This state park is located between the Atlantic Ocean and the Indian River Lagoon, and it covers 1,000 acres, featuring a lot of natural habitats. The main attractions are that this park offers opportunities for fishing, swimming, boating, hiking, and camping. And there's facilities there for campsites, picnic areas, a fishing pier, boat ramps, and a visitor center with educational exhibits. This is just a great state park. You've got to see it. And hey, won't you consider hitting that like button, hit that subscribe button, click that little bell. That way you'll be notified every time I drop a new video just like this about Melbourne, Florida. And hey, I've lived in this area for over 40 years. I know the area very, very well. I've sold hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of homes in the Melbourne area, and I like to help you too, but I can't help you unless you reach out to me. Give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email, and I'd be happy to address what you're looking for here in the Melbourne area. To start your search for Melbourne Beach property, look at the description below. You'll see a quick and easy link for you to access the properties that come right out of the MLS. So if you want to start your search in Melbourne Beach or anywhere else, look in the description below. Okay, so let's talk about the schools. All the schools in the Melbourne Beach area are rated very high. So there's actually only one school in Melbourne Beach. That's Gemini Elementary, and that's an A-rated school right there on Oak Street across from the ballparks. You're going to go to a middle school. Hoover is the next middle school, which is up in Indian Atlantic, and that's rated a B+. And then for high school, that district is actually Melbourne High, and Melbourne High is an A-rated school. Now, some choose to go to Satellite High. That's out of district, but you certainly can do that. Satellite High is just right there on the beach, a little bit north of Melbourne Beach. So all the schools in the Melbourne Beach area, or for those that are district in the Melbourne Beach area, are all very highly rated schools. Okay, another couple of pros and cons. Of course, the weather can be a pro and a con either way. You have great weather. It does get really, really hot, of course, in the summer generally, but you generally have an ocean breeze there. So if you're right there on the ocean, you're generally going to be 90 degrees or a little bit less with a nice breeze, but you also have the threat of storms, and storms can come through, and if the storm is coming right for that area, you might be asked to evacuate. So that is, again, a pro and a con when it comes to weather. That's always the case for anywhere in Brevard County, but especially on beachside, you have a little bit more threat because you're a little bit more vulnerable if a storm comes in directly to the from the east right into the Florida coastline. So I always call it a pro and a con when it comes to weather. There are so many great things to do in Melbourne Beach, and of course that starts with experiencing the beaches there. There are so many beach access points and parks where you can experience the gorgeous turquoise waters and the fine white sand of the beaches there. But of course there's also the iconic Melbourne Beach Pier on the west side of Ocean Avenue. I love going down that pier. And nearby you have the historic Reichman House and Park. You also have the Melbourne Beach Community Center, and nearby you have the Spencer Holland Golf Course. You have the Old Town History Hall Center right there on Oak Avenue. One of my favorite restaurants downtown there is Dijon Steak and Lobster House, a great restaurant there. But you have other things, the Bear Island Center, you have the Maritime Hammock Sanctuary, and of course you have the Sebastian Inlet State Park. So there's so many things to do in Melbourne Beach alone. It's like living there and being on vacation all at the same time. So as for the real estate in the Melbourne Beach area, there's such a diverse selection of styles that you can choose from. So you can choose from single family homes to condos to villas to townhomes to manufactured homes or even RV parks. There's a little bit of everything. Of course, you can choose something on the ocean, you can choose something on the river, you can choose something inland. 70% or so of the single family homes were built prior to 1990, and there's new home construction going on, whether it's on the water or not. There's plenty of condos that are going up. So you do have 2 golf courses in Melbourne Beach, and you have the Aquarina Golf Club and facility there that is a great gated facility. So there are about a dozen gated communities within Melbourne Beach, and that number is also growing. So you have a little bit of everything when it comes to the Melbourne Beach lifestyle. Now, when it comes to purchasing a property or a home in Melbourne Beach, prices start at about $200,000. Now, for $200,000, you're going to get a manufactured home on a lot you can either rent or own. And some of these parks are very, very nice. Some are 55 and over parks. The average single family home starts at around $400,000, and that number can go up to about $5 million if you get a very beautiful property right there on the ocean front. Oceanfront homes start at generally about $1.5 million, and again can go up to about $5 million. And there are, again, a good selection of homes and condos and townhouses, whether they're on the oceanfront or not. There's a great RV fraction here to Melbourne Beach. You can rent out spaces in RV parks. You can also rent a permanent space or buy a permanent space with an RV here in Melbourne Beach. So just a great selection. Prices are, I would still say, are relatively low. If you go down south to the Vero Beach area, the Stewart area, you're almost going to pay double for the same amount. So Melbourne Beach is still a hidden gem when it comes to finding property and the enjoyment of life here on the east central coast of Florida. And if you're looking for more information about the Melbourne Beach or the Melbourne area, I've got a few other videos of mine that are being queued up right now. Thanks again for watching.